Mic'd Up Podcast, hosted by Dr. Mike Miller and Coby Duran of Central Baptist Church in Jacksonville, Texas, is a series of conversations about issues that matter. For people who have real questions and doubts, it covers topics of faith, theology, and philosophy in ways that are easy to understand. Ultimately, Mic'd Up is a podcast with a couple of guys having conversations about conversations you are having. Mic'd Up is produced by Al Lambert Jr. at Mic'd Up Studios in Jacksonville, Texas.
Okay.
So you got to have the right people in the right position, right? Like you're on the ministerial staff team. We're not gonna tap you to lead worship. Yeah. Right? I mean, just like we're not going to tap me to lead worship. Yeah. I mean, that's not our skill set.
Right, yeah.
You know, there's got to be that sense of calling, that you know, the vocation of it. The hardest component is the culture component. And that's the person who fits on your team.
Yeah. Would you say, if I give you two scenarios, which one would you pick? Guy is a good culture fit, but raw and in need of training. Guy is incredibly gifted, but may not be a good
Give me the
fit.
culture all day long. I don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
Early in my ministry, you know, I started out planting a church, and it's like, oh, warm body, do this. And it was disaster at times.
Okay.
To the point that, you know, you get to where you're like, okay, it's just better not to have that job done than to have it done by somebody who's going to destroy it.
Yeah.
Not only was it, I was being truthful, but I want your cup to be filled.
But like, I don't think that you realize how rare that is in leadership. Or like
is
for
it?
A guy. I have a topic of conversation for us today.
You have a topic of conversation for us.
Yes.
Do you want to do this now?
Well, I have another topic of conversation that I would like to bring up to everybody. Because this is a big announcement for me.
Oh, no.
I, for the next 2 months, am a avid New York Knicks fan. Avid. A-V-I-D. That means...
That's hockey, right?
Oh.
I know that SEC baseball tournament's going on right now. And
that's not sport.
Texas and Texas A&M both have buys.
It's not a sport. Baseball's not
One
a
of
sport.
them's number 2, one of them's number 3.
Look, here's the deal. It's not a sport.
Why are you a communist?
Stop
Why do you hate America?
Stop fooling yourself.
Why do you hate America?
Stop fooling yourself. It's a great hobby.
Can I just be honest with you? Just shoot straight with you. It's hard for me to hear sports opinions from a soccer fan.
Soccer's definitely not an American sport. We are terrible at soccer. America
well, I know,
sucks
no,
at soccer.
I mean, yeah, I know that, but
and that's coming from I played soccer, and I mean it's not like we're not good at it in general.
I think we just better move into the episode now.
I'm ready for. Well, you know what? It actually applies to our conversation that we just had.
Oh,
because it's about teams.
Teams. Okay.
But first, for the greatest intro in podcasting history, welcome to the Mic'd Up Podcast, where we have the conversations.
About the conversations you are having.
That's good right there. Golly, that's good.
What's our topic?
Teams. All right, so here's the concept that I want to kind of roll with today. And we have at times, I feel like, have had these conversations, but I want to revisit this because I think that it's an interesting leadership content here. Because there's a lot of talk about how to build good teams, but even the people who do all the talking pretty much consistently talk about how it's a struggle as well too, because you're having to fire people or people aren't connecting with the team or whatever the case may be. So I want to approach it from 2 layers. All right. Number one, I want to talk about approaching. When I say teams, I'm talking about team of any organization. So here we are in a church context, trying to build a ministerial team.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, I think this can apply to anywhere. So I want to talk about how to build teams for leaders, but then also like what are the things that are just ridiculously hard about it? What are the things where you know that there's going to be roadblocks along the way? So kind of like the principles that you see over here, because this is one of those areas of leadership for you. I feel like in your leadership in particular, in general, I think that you're a good leader, but I think that like every leader has like things that they do well, like that they go kind of above and beyond.
We're still trying to figure that out about me.
Well, I can tell you two things. I think that you do really well.
I can tell you things I don't do well.
Well, we've had a podcast on this. Like, I think that one of your very, very strong characteristics in leadership is leadership in crisis. We have a podcast on that. We can try to plug that episode in. I've told you before, like, I think that you need to write a book on like crisis leadership, because every leader is going to face crisis. Not every leader does it well, Yeah. In fact, I would say probably few leaders do it well. That is not a strength of mine. Like, crisis leadership is not a strength of mine. So I've learned a lot from you. The other thing that I think you do really well is I think that you build and equip teams really, really well. And I'll get to some of the areas where I see.
I'm glad you say that, because that's a real priority of mine.
Well, I just think that you do it well. And so, like, before I kind of get to some of the areas that I see in you, the specific areas I see in the team building, I'd just like to hear, like, what are some things that you go after when you're trying to, like, build a team around you, regardless of what that team may be. Because even here at Central, you've got a lot of different teams that you lead. I mean, we have committees. We're a Baptist church, so we have committees that kind of help our congregation be congregationally led. You got your staff, you got deacons, you even have a crisis team that you put together. So what are you looking for?
Well, I mean, so there's two levels you're looking for here.
Yeah.
One is I'm going to take that. I'm going to say there's three different things. One is you're looking for skill set.
Okay.
So you got to have the right people in the right position, right? Like, you're on the ministerial staff team. We're not gonna tap you to lead worship. Right? I mean, just like we're not going to tap me to lead worship.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not our skill set.
Right. Yeah.
I came to you a while back because I saw something that I wanted you to do, and you weren't sure that was your skill set, the position, the role that you're in now. And one of the things I had to keep doing is telling you what a good job you're doing, but because you are really good. I mean, you've got exactly the skills that we need. But in addition to skills, I think there needs to be, there's got to be that sense of calling, the vocation of it, the calling. So, there's a guy in our church that I just really want to be a teacher. I want this guy to be a teacher. Actually, I can think of 2 or 3 guys right now, and they're just like, I am not called to be a teacher. Yeah. And I just think they would be really good at it, but if that's not their calling, they're not going to find any joy in it, and it's going to be drudgery to them. It's just like you might find somebody that's a good musician who would not be a good worship leader because it's not their calling, and that's not what it's going to be. But the hardest component is the culture component. And that's the person who fits on your team. Yeah. And a lot of times you're handed a team. Okay, before we get to the cultural component, let me pull my phone out so I can make some notes of this right here. Before we get to the cultural component of it, so one of the things that I've noticed with you, very rarely, when you say, hey, you were just talking about the teaching stuff. Usually when you say, hey, Coby, or whoever it is on our staff, this person would be good in blank situation. There's been very few times that I'd say you've missed on that. So do you think that that's like a spiritual gifting that you have? Do you think it's a natural gifting, or is that something that you've cultivated over time? Where you can kind of see potential in people that maybe they don't see in themselves, or maybe that other people can't see. I think it's probably some gifting, but I can tell you too, early in my ministry, I started out planting a church, and it's like, oh, warm body, do this. And it was disaster at times. Okay. To the point that, you get to where you're like, okay, it's just better not to have that job done than to have it done by somebody who's going to destroy it. Yeah. And so, so I think early on, I just really started committing to praying about who's going to do this and who's going to do that. And, right now there's a particular role. We were just talking this week. We have a particular role that we really need somebody to fill right now. Yeah. And it can't just be somebody who's gifted. It's got to be somebody that's going to fit. Yeah. Where that is, you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, that's that culture, right? Yeah, it's got to be somebody, because there is a unique culture in this particular ministry. Yeah. That you can't just take somebody with this gift and throw them in there. Right. Yeah. Because there's got to be that connection. So, that is that culture. Would you say that you've had more misses
on the gifting side or the culture side of building a team? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or which one do you think is harder to discern, the culture or the gifting?
You know, you're going to think this is crazy because the gifting should be the easiest thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I see that you have these skills.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
It's actually not. Because, you know, let's take a teacher for somebody. You may have somebody that's got all the skills in place to be a good teacher and is a terrible teacher. Like you can have that person who is a good musician and is a terrible worship leader. You can have somebody that has leadership qualities, but they can't lead this particular thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I've said all the time, I can't pastor just any church.
Right.
I think I fit at Central. I think I belong here, you know? And so, you know, a lot of that is the culture, but a lot of times I have put people into, like I've taken, let me give you an example. So this is where I'm going to get back to the skills. It may sound like I'm saying the culture is the hardest thing. It's really not. Because what I've done at times is I've taken people like within the church who get the culture and I've put them in a leadership position, for example.
Yeah.
And it was terrible. And you look and go, well, this person's a business owner. This person's got leadership skills. And so I think finding that right skill set for a particular position is what's hard. Am I making sense?
No,
there?
it does. Yeah. I mean, it's just a whole lot harder because
I've made a couple of hires.
Yeah.
Not here, but I've made a couple of hires in the past that afterwards I'm going, that was a bad call. And it would be somebody who like fits in, or even somebody from within the church or something like that knows the culture, and somebody that evidences a call.
Yeah.
And you turn them loose with this ministry, and then you're just going, wow, this is not going well.
Yeah, I think that everybody. So, like, I think that this is a conversation for everybody. Now, I don't think that this is a conversation that everybody's having because I think that this is something that is very subconscious. You know, I can only think of like a few roles in life where like building good systems, teams of that stuff of that nature is not necessary. I think that the vast majority of people are going to be experiencing. I think that even like in a marriage context, like understanding teamwork. You're not building a team, right? Like you don't have like a husband that's like, all right, I've got one wife, she's doing a great job. I need to get another wife in.
Yeah, right,
like, you're not doing that. But like even just like for that married couple, being able to come in and say, hey, here's where your strength is, here's where my strength is, this is where I'm weak, this is where you're weak, and like kind of doing that. And so I think that it's an important conversation, and like what I'm hearing you say is that it's not easy. Number one, building teams is not easy. You will miss from time to time.
You will, but also I like the challenge of trying to help somebody come to their potential.
That's good. Keep talking about that.
Well, you know, so
okay. Well, hold on. Let me give you a more specific question if you don't mind. You like to help people come to their potential, which, by the way, that golly, what passage is that? Is that Ephesians 2 or Ephesians 3? To equip the saints for the work of the ministry. That's like the calling on our lives. So that's
it's Ephesians 4.
Ephesians. Should have went one more.
It's in Ephesians.
It's in Ephesians.
Sometimes I just feel glad to be in the right testament.
I know, right? It's in the Bible somewhere. Ephesians 4. You know, we are called to equip the saints for the work of the ministry. That's what you're talking about right there. So there will be times, right, where we see somebody who has this budding calling, but maybe they're not real good at it yet.
Right. And so this is why I'm talking about the skills. So they've got the skills there.
Yeah. Like
they're
the bones.
They're just not working yet. You know?
Yeah.
And the problem is, this is where I consider it a failure, when I can't coach somebody up. Here's the calling, here's the skills. Why can't I motivate this person? Why can't I get this person to perform well? And sometimes it's a matter of getting them the training.
Yeah.
You know, we got a young guy on staff right now. It's his first church staff position. And he's got everything it takes.
Right. Yeah.
And it's really your responsibility primarily to get him where he needs to be. And there are going to be times when, and I don't know, we haven't talked about this specifically like this, but there are probably going to be times when you go home going, man, why can't I get him to this next level?
Yeah. I was thinking about times when I think like Tom Myers, who was my overseer when I first came to Central, was probably thinking that about me. Where I'm like,
I think we all think that.
Yeah.
And so, but to me, I found really great satisfaction in getting to those next levels and having those breakthroughs and taking somebody, it's just like when I started preaching, I had a lot of experience in public communication.
yeah.
And when I started preaching, man, I am so thankful we didn't have internet back then. And I had all the skills, but I needed to be refined, and I needed really to learn, what does it mean to be a preacher and what does it mean to be a pastor? And to preach as a pastor. Because,
that's good.
Because there's different kinds of preaching.
There's different kinds of preaching.
But in the pastoral role, that means something. So I like hiring people without the experience, but that you can sort of tell are going to be at that high level.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this over 30 years. I can think of maybe like 3 hires that I had to finally admit this is just not working.
How do you know when that time comes?
Okay, so here's one of my weaknesses.
Okay.
It takes me a long time to get there.
Okay, so hindsight's always 20/20, right?
Well, but I'm going to tell you why it takes me a long time to get there. Number one, I'm very slow to fire people.
Yeah.
If you're going to criticize me about something, one of the things you can criticize me about is, Mike, you should have fired that guy a year ago. And I can look back and go, you're right. But when you fire somebody, you're taking away their paycheck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not only that, in the ministry, you are severely hindering their opportunity for future ministry.
That's right. Yeah.
Because when we've looked for staff people together and we get resumes, I go, why hadn't this guy been doing anything for a year?
Yeah.
Why did this guy get fired from his church?
Well,
and
like
so
Baptist
you're
circles
labeled.
Yeah.
They are. And which, by the way, is why I like to be a guy who will give somebody like that an opportunity.
Yeah.
I want to do my homework and the background work and talk to people who know them. Because it could be that the guy just got a raw deal or was in the wrong place.
He could have been in the wrong culture.
He could have been in the wrong culture.
Didn't fit.
And so I love giving a guy an opportunity because I've not been in that situation, but I can only imagine what it's like. So I don't like firing people.
Yeah.
But another thing is that I still keep believing I can fix it. Because it's a failure to me especially if it's somebody I've hired, that I can't get them to that next level or to the level. I may get them up a level, but I can't get them where they need
and to be clear, you're talking about competency. You're not talking about some moral or ethical thing. You're strictly talking about like just
moral and ethical stuff. I still hate
easier.
firing people, but that's just a no-brainer.
Right, yeah.
You and I were talking about a guy we know that recently got fired for a moral thing.
Yeah.
And it happened quickly, and there was...
It needed to happen.
Yeah, I feel bad for the people that had to deal with it.
Yeah.
Not as much for him because he just did something stupid.
Right.
And so, and when I say that, I always like to put the caveat out there, we're all capable.
Right, yeah.
Don't think you're not. But, so, like I remember I was in a church and the personnel committee's like, Mike, this guy's got to go. And I'm like, no, give me 6 months.
Was it a competency issue?
It's a competency issue, and I really like that. So like one of the things I like to do. You've never had to deal with this. I put together a performance improvement plan. So when somebody is underperforming,
oh, that's good. Yeah.
Then my first step is usually let's have a conversation about this and see. And then if it doesn't work, then let's come up with a plan. So we're gonna meet regularly, and we're gonna try to. We're going to set some benchmarks, and we got 90 days or 180 days, and we're going to reevaluate and see if we can move forward. But one time I had a staff member that I said, okay, this is the performance improvement plan. And here are the things, we're going to meet weekly, and by this date you need to be here, by this date you need to be here, by this date you need to be here. Week 1, okay. Today you're supposed to have this. And the response was, Oh, you're serious about that?
No.
Well, at that point, I've really just lost hope.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm going to try to work the plan, but I don't know that I can do anything here. So, and but I think like athletic coaches feel the same way. Is they're gonna draft some guy, right? And I do like baseball. One of the things I like about baseball is the farm system.
Right. Yeah, they're trying to develop these guys.
Yeah, as they see somebody that is not even close to being ready for the majors.
Yeah.
For one thing, he's been hitting with a metal bat in college, and they put a wooden bat in. He's been bat. We had a guy in our church, not this church, but at church I used to pastor, who batted like 450 something in college.
Wow.
And he gets drafted, and he goes to single A or to rookie league or something, and they put a wooden bat in his hand, and he's batting like 165.
Golly, man. Yeah.
And he's like, man, that's really hard. But they got to teach him that, and their goal is let's get him into the majors. And I think coaches see that as a success when the scouts, hey, we've really found the guy here.
Yeah.
And
your last, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. It might even be 5 hires. Your last 5 hires, all from within the church.
I'll take your word for it.
You got essentially Al.
Since I've been here, almost 10 years, I think there's only been 1 hire from outside the church.
Yeah, you got Al.
And that's
Jaden,
because it was a children's
Emily.
person that the committee had already almost decided on before I got here.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I don't think we've brought in anybody from outside, have we?
It's 6. You have got 6 hires since you've come that are all like from inside the church.
And it's going great.
It really is.
And
because
the
culture
reason
thing,
I like that is the culture thing.
Okay, that kind of
So,
takes us back
every
to that
church
point.
has a DNA.
Right, yeah.
And like I came into Central from the outside. I had to learn the DNA.
Yeah.
Because I can't expect Central to adapt to my DNA.
Right. Yeah.
So I've got to figure out the DNA, and really felt before I got here that it was going to be a good fit. I just really thought this would be the right, and I feel like that's proven to be the case. But just because somebody's doing a great job in Dallas, does not mean they're going to do a great job in East Texas.
Well, and just because somebody's doing a great job at one church in Dallas doesn't mean they'll do a great job at a church right down the street.
That's exactly right.
The DNA is huge.
And so, but when and then getting people to catch your vision.
Yeah.
So the hires from within the church, and I consider an Alan hire from within the church. I mean, his other job took him away from Central for a couple of years, but he's a Central guy.
Yeah.
And he and his family were baptized here,
Right. Yeah.
And they already have your vision.
Yeah.
They already get your strategy. They understand what you're trying to do.
Right.
And then when you and they believe they're calling you to that position, it's just so seamless.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times what you're doing is we're hiring people who've never served on a church staff.
Yeah.
So that's where they've got to be coached up into the position.
Right. Yeah.
And I got to say, you've done a really good job because several of the people we've hired have been under you.
Yeah.
And you've done a really good job of coaching them up. And
well, I think that though, like the way that you, and this was from you. This was not from me. This was from you, of like that desire to hire from within. Because as I'm listening to you talk, I'm just like I'm processing. You hire somebody from within, not only do they understand the DNA of today, but they also understand the DNA of yesterday, metaphorically speaking, right?
Yeah, they've got your institutional history.
They've got the institutional history, so when they come into a situation, they know where the wounds are, they know where
the landmines are.
They know where the landmines are, they know where the success stories are.
They know where the troubled people are.
That's right. So there's just so many factors that go into that. So I really like, okay, so let me ask you this, because you might have already said this, but maybe I got it lost or not, I'm not sure. When we go back to that question of competency versus like culture fit, would you say, if I give you 2 scenarios, which one would you pick? Guy is a good culture fit, but raw and in need of training. Guy is incredibly gifted, but may not be a good
Give
culture
me the
fit.
culture all day long. I don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. Let's coach him up.
Yeah.
And if we need to, let's pay for his education.
Yeah.
If we need to, let's send him to some seminars. So let's get him some, I mean, as far as the raw skills go, like let's say it's a worship guy, and no, we're not looking for a worship guy, but let's say it's a worship guy.
Yeah.
Let's send him to some good worship places. In fact, let's give him some time off to go around to some churches.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, you do that for us even now. I mean, like I get to go to conferences every year. John gets to go. Raina.
But like
Tracy.
if you were brand new to it, I would say let's identify.
Yeah.
We're going to send you to 6 this year.
Yeah.
Instead of just like you go to 1 or 2 maybe, and let's get you into some of the best ones that are out there. And also what we're going to do is we're going to say, why don't you be looking for somebody you can connect with who might become a coach for you, who might become a mentor to you.
Yeah.
And so, man, I'll take that all day long. That let's bring somebody along. And you know what? They may never get to the skill level as that other person you're talking about.
Yeah.
But we got to, back to the sports team analogy.
Yeah.
Every member of the Texas Rangers is not the best in the league in their position.
Right, yeah.
In fact, you take World Series team, you take the Dodgers. Every position on that team was not occupied by the best person, but it's occupied by somebody who's good. You still have to be good.
Right.
But who fit that team, right?
Yeah.
They worked with that team. They did their job. You give me somebody who works hard.
Yeah.
And who does good work. I mean, I don't want to we're not going to put up with bad performance.
Right.
But somebody who is performing well, who works hard, who gets what we're doing and gets the job done, man, I'll take that over that high performing individual who may not have the work ethic and who may never really blend in.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's such a good word because, I do think that our culture I got to use my terms a little bit differently now. I think our society is oriented around going after these and exalting these like really talented people, gifted people, and things like that. And by the way, like there is this thing in ministry, unfortunately, where you have really gifted people that don't have good character.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like good character, good talent.
Yeah, right.
But like we exalt these people and say like, okay, like you put them in any context and they'll succeed. Mm-hmm. It's like the reality of it is no, I don't believe that is true.
Yeah.
I think that somebody in I've got like a good friend in Georgetown, Texas that planted a church about 2 or 3 years ago, and like I look at like what he's doing at his church and stuff like that, and like it's like a very clear thing to me. I'm like, all right, because I've gone and preached for him a couple of times just because when he goes on vacation. I'm like, man, I would be a terrible fit there. But you reverse that and you put him over here in Jacksonville, Texas, he'd be a terrible fit here, Yeah. And I love what I do here. Like, I love what I do. I'm enjoying it and all those things like that. And then you look at like what he's doing. He loves what he's doing. He's enjoying it, experiencing success. And it's like So
I think if you're using your skill set and your calling and you're in the right place, you are going to love what you do.
Yeah, but I think that's very true.
And if we can build a team like that, people aren't looking to leave.
Right. That's one of the things that's kind of odd about us here at Central. We have a long tenured staff.
We do.
I mean, you don't have guys that are just like looking to go places.
And that was one of the things, when you get a new pastor.
Yeah.
Well, I come in and y'all are already working together.
Yeah.
And
how was that for you, coming into a staff that had already been together for a while?
My biggest concern was you guys.
Really?
Absolutely, because there's only one of me.
Right.
And what are y'all thinking? Are you worried about your job? Are you worried, man, are we going to keep our job? And so one of the things I wanted to do is, I don't know if you remember this, but I sit down with each of you and I'm like, I want you to be here.
Yeah.
Again, I've heard of pastors going in and they just like clean house and bring the staff in they want. You're messing with people's livelihood.
You are messing with people. That it's funny about that. Maybe I was just too young to even like consider that. But like when you came, that was not even like a fear in my mind. I was like, this is going to be great. Like we're all going to get along. This is going to be good.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. But you also don't know what kind of leadership am I going to bring.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I'm a very different leader than the previous pastor, than the guy that hired you.
Yeah, that's true. But I guess that was where like the culture of Central, the team that was already at place at Central, I think that like you came in and made some decisions that I think were very respectable decisions. We ain't got to rehash all that out on this podcast because that would take us another hour.
Yeah.
But like, you made some decisions that were very hard but very respectable. And I'll speak for myself. When I looked at those decisions, I was just like, here's a guy who's looking out for the good of our church. And I was like, okay, I can get behind that.
And one of them was not popular.
No, it wasn't popular. It was the right decision
Among the staff.
It wasn't popular among the staff. You're right. You're right. It was not popular among the staff, but I think that every single one of us had to look at that and say, this is the right call. Like, I think that I think, by the way, I think that we knew that in our heart prior to the decision being made.
Yeah.
But it's like the fact that you were able to come in, I don't know, for me, it was just one of those deals like, okay, you are in a new environment and you make the tough decision that was unpopular. You received some pushback, but it was like, okay, like this guy, he wants the good of Central Baptist Church, and we can disagree all we want to about what that looks like, but like nobody can say that this is a selfish decision.
That's another thing. As a team leader, and again, you see this in sports. Am I trying to build my kingdom? And I know guys. They're trying to get a track record so they can move on to the next biggest and better thing.
So this is one thing with you that I wanted to talk about that I feel like with the team building thing that I think is just really cool. You platform people. When I say platform, I'll think all the time we automatically think, okay, well, like Sunday morning, like stage, and I think that that's just one of the platforms that we have at Central. But I'm even like looking at like your Sunday school class. You don't teach your Sunday school class,
Right. I fill in.
You fill in,
Yeah.
because there is a guy who doesn't have near the teaching experience that you have, but he's a good teacher and that's his gift, and like you prop him up as like, hey, here's our guy for our class.
Yeah.
Your home group. You've got a guy that you prop up to like help lead that home group, and then I can just like go down the list. But like I can even think of sometimes there was one thing. This is gonna sound probably very arrogant on my part. So I'm gonna take a little bit of a risk.
We're all friends here in all the countries.
Well, so there was something that you did back in 2021 that like it inspired me. So we had the snowpocalypse or whatever they called it, like the big deal, and there was a guy in town that I saw say something on social media. It tugged at my heartstrings, and so I got activated to do some things for the community at that time, and you let me run with it.
Yeah.
I mean, like you let me go with it. You served along the way. And so like it was basically like one of those things where like for a 3-day time period, you were just like, Coby, what do you need from me? And then you got to church on Sunday morning. I want to like, again, this is going to sound very arrogant, but like I'm saying this humbly because like that was a time where what we did for the community got a lot of praise.
Yeah. What we did for the community. And I'm not going to brag about it because it was our church, and if I'm going to brag on anybody, it's going to be you because you made it happen.
Well, that's the thing that you did that Sunday morning where I was like, that's where I was kind of blown away. You got up in the pulpit, and in front of everybody, you essentially like you did two things that I thought were just like so cool that helped me understand what humility looked like. You acknowledged that what happened was really good and great, and then you just were like, and by the way, like Coby was the guy behind this, and I was like, dang, that took some like, I don't know. I think that took humility.
That takes humility. I mean, it was your thing.
You would not have. I mean, but here's the deal: that you very easily could have got up there and said something along the lines. Again, and maybe I'm just showing my own sin. I don't know, but like you very easily could have got up there and been like, guys, look at like our church did this. Our church did like you could have like done that, but instead. Like you chose to shine a spotlight on me at that time. And I just gotta say, like it was like it filled my cup up, number one. But number two, it just taught me this huge and like it was one of those things where I was like, okay, like I want to do that for the people that I lead.
Here's the
thing.
I
want to do that.
Not only was it I was being truthful, but I want your cup to be filled.
But like, I don't think that you realize how rare that is in leadership. Or like,
Is
for
it?
a guy, I feel like it is. Maybe I'm wrong, man.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know because I'm not in other churches.
I don't know. But I mean, like, you hear about stories all the time of like church leaders who like abuse their power, authority, position, all that stuff like that. Yeah. And like, when you get up and you don't just do it with me, you do it with so many people. But like, when you get up and you like completely take something that, okay, let me put it this way. It would have been honest of you to stand before the church that Sunday morning or any Sunday morning when you pray somebody else and say, guys, look at what our church, like, we just had the best church here. Everybody give yourselves a round of applause or something like that. That would have been an honest assessment.
And it would not have bothered you.
No. Like, maybe at that point, maybe at my pride or avarice, but just like in general, I'm saying like you could have done that, but instead you chose to like fill a young man's cup up. You chose to shine a spotlight on a young man who was under your leadership, and I just thought that was so cool. I don't see guys doing that. I don't see guys.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah,
because it's just honesty. And
I feel like it's a step further
kind of
than
thing
that.
is though, but like, what kind of leader would I be if I didn't acknowledge your exceptional and exemplary performance, and if I didn't do it in front of others? I mean, I just think that would just be.
You would have been like a typical leader. Quite frankly, I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
See, I don't
maybe
see
I'm
myself
wrong.
as doing anything special. I'm just like.
Well, I just think it's really cool because like that again.
I just got such a great staff. I want everybody to know.
Yeah.
And I am really afraid of taking credit for anything anybody else does.
Well, I mean, even we talked about the crisis leadership, and so I don't want to like go into this, but one of the things again that I feel like you do really well in building teams is like when you find somebody who has a gifting, have a skill, like you let them loose to go do it.
Well, yeah.
You don't put a harness on it. You're just like you let it go. And that's another thing. I mean,
I was at a pastor meeting the other day. We had these pastor roundtables in our association, and one guy was talking about working for somebody that was just a micromanager.
Yeah.
Like, man, it was just...
That's how to run off a team right there.
I had to report every day. And he said, well, he offered me a job with another organization. And he said, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like this guy got this job and said, hey, come work for me. He said, no, I can't do it because you're looking over my shoulder. You want everything done a certain way. And I will tell you, it's hard sometimes when you're like, I really want this done this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think I know a better way to do it.
Yeah. You do that at times, and I think all leaders are supposed to do that at times.
Well, I guess, but I don't. But I don't want to run your ministry.
No, right. And I think that's the difference between micromanaging and just good leadership. It's like the good leader is going to know, hey, I've got to intervene.
But can I tell you, there's a little selfishness here. I don't have the bandwidth to micromanage, man.
I think that's good leadership too.
But why would I want a team if I want to do your job for you?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, I just, like I said, I feel like those are like some areas of like real strength with you. And we might have some listeners like, Coby, quit kissing up. It's like, well, no, like if you want me to, just for listeners' sake, I can tell you where you're weak too. No, just kidding. But it's like we
probably ought to do an episode on what my weaknesses are.
On weaknesses.
We'll do a whole series, 2.5 years worth.
You know, my little survey that I sent out, like I got some things back that I was like, man.
Yeah, Coby sent a survey out asking people to help him identify any blind spots in his leadership.
Yeah, they've identified.
And can I tell you the truth? I'm filling that out going, I'd never send this out. I'm afraid people would be too honest with me.
I'll say this. I mean, even with that, like I have received some feedback that I'm like, dang, I did not know that. That is totally true. Like when I think about it, I'm like, that is totally true.
Yeah.
But again, I just think that these are areas that you do well. I think that people can benefit from them. I especially think church leaders and organizational leaders can benefit from them. Because if you don't have a team to do the task, what passage is it? Is it Numbers? It's Numbers 13-ish, maybe give or take a chapter where Moses complains before God, like, you've given me this like huge group of people. I can't lead them. I can't be responsible. What do you want me to do? And he finally just tells him, like, kill me. Like, just kill me so I can have peace. And so, like, God comes to him and gives him, it was 70 elders or 75 elders? I feel
something like that.
It was like 70 elders and essentially creates this team of guys to help Moses go and lead the people. And so it's like, man, if arguably the greatest non-Jesus leader in history, Moses, if you look at his resume, I mean, it would be hard to find a better leader, I think, than Moses.
Yeah.
So arguably,
and he's got flaws.
And he's got flaws too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, major flaws.
And one of them was his ego.
And one of them was his ego. But like the dude literally got to a place where he's like, I can't do this. And I have to have a team of people around me. And so if I'm not even on the same, if I'm not even in the same ocean that Moses is, then I too have to be like, okay, I've got to have a.
I can say clearly that we've had a lot of really good things happen in our church the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Since I've been here.
Yeah. It's been a time of blessing for sure.
There are very few of those things that are a direct result of me doing them. Very few. Now, you're going to push back and say, yeah, but you were the leader, you launched it, you gave that, and maybe I did. But we would not be doing what we're doing and seeing the results we're seeing if it weren't for our team.
Yeah.
There is no way.
Yeah. I mean, I even just look at like the stuff that's happening in like our children's ministry, preteen ministry, student ministry.
And what do I know about any of those? Nothing. Now, I have a vision for where I want those to go.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get them there.
So you let the horses run.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I like it.
And man, it's going great. And we have interpersonal conflicts from time to time on the staff. We have bumps in the road that we hit.
Yeah. I don't want anybody to hear this and think that everything is like is roses, right? That's ridiculous because and I think that's like the thing that people have got to realize about teams. Like you're going to experience hardships, but what I'm hearing you say, if you focus on culture, if you build the gifting, you can avoid some of that stuff.
And you've got to have the calling.
And you got to have the calling.
Somebody's got to have that calling to do it.
Certainly within like that ministry.
Like this young guy that we've got right now that you're training up. We had to ask him, would you do this? Because it was a shift in thinking for him. And he had to ask the Lord, is this the direction you want me going?
Right, yeah. He's doing a great job.
But we were able to recognize, knowing what he was trying to do with his life, we think this might be what God's calling him to.
So right? I'm gonna tell you something about his first Wednesday night.
Yeah.
All right. I got this from you. This is from you.
Okay.
So, I led that student ministry. Even though I haven't been the student minister in 3 years, I guess it's over 3 years now. I guess I'm going on 4. 3.5, I guess, yeah. I still very much had a very heavy hand in the student ministry for 2 years after that. So you're looking at like an 11 to 12 year time period where I led that student ministry. So on his first Wednesday night there, we had this like service laid out to where I was like going to go up and like hand off the keys, so to speak. And we had it like written down in the service structure and everything. And your influence and some other men around me. No, I didn't ask anybody about this, but just like the influence, like I said, like you and back in 2021, just shining that spotlight on somebody else. I started walking up on stage from the back, so I didn't even get to like where like I got to level with the crowd, and like they were waiting. They're like, "All right, Kobe's gonna come up and say something," and then I walked up and I was just like, "What am I doing? Like I don't need to be up there. Like we have a guy. Like there's the guy.
He's the guy."
And so I just like turned around and went back to my seat, and I was like, go ahead. He's like, okay, well, Kobe's not going to be able to come up. Like, let's keep on. He didn't miss a beat. And I was just like, that was like that moment for me where I was like, okay, like it's time to shine the spotlight on somebody else. Yeah. And I just so I appreciate men like you. I appreciate other leaders in my life too that have exemplified that kind of leadership of like, hey, it's time. You got to know when to let the horses run. You got to know when to release the reins. You got to know when to train. All those things like that. And I feel very blessed as a leader. I don't think that I'm a great leader, but I do feel very blessed as a leader.
Well, you're wrong.
Well, I mean, I think I'm in training for sure, but I want to be that. But I'll say like I feel blessed because I've had some outstanding examples, and I think that this is one of those areas like for you in particular, like the team building and knowing like all that stuff like
Thanks.
That's been very good. So hopefully this will be helpful for people. I know you don't like talking about yourself.
I do not.
So you got nice and uncomfortable.
I'd much rather talk about where I've blown it.
We can do that another time.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Maybe we ought to do an episode on let's talk about some of our blunders in ministry where we've learned from.
Gosh, I don't want to revisit those things. Why?
Well, maybe we should do some of the blunders I've done in ministry.
All right, folks. Well, we appreciate you for tuning in. We'll be talking to you soon.
Bye.